my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Oh, well, they gave me bars, but I can see between to a dusty yard and long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone.
Hello everybody, welcome to Heidbangers. I'm Matty, this is episode 12, joined tonight by Charlie and Alex. How are you doing, guys?
All good.
Aye, no bad, mate, all things considered after the weekend.
I know a bit of a dull one. I was trying to think of whether we could do the podcast without mentioning the game, but seeing it's about mental health, it's kind of like, it's one of these things that if you let it can totally impact your weekend, But I think most of us kind of took evasive action knowing what was probably going to happen this weekend, and so either had plans for immediately after the game or for the rest of the weekend that you could just not think about it anymore. So I kind of must be getting old, because it used to be with derbies I'd be raging for like ages after it, and I think even as I was coming out of Hampden, I was like, right, get a drink, get home, go to see folk. I was going to have a pint with Josh, and that's what I started looking forward to. And it's almost like the game never happened. They just kind of get to that point I can just compartmentalise it and go, I'll never watch any of it again. Never did it after the Bad Cup final. I can't think I've seen any footage of that since. Even if I think I'm going to see it by accident, I'll kind of avert my gaze and just go, I saw it live and I never need to watch it again.
I think that makes you a proper adult now that you can do that.
Aye.
It's probably going to come back and bite me. Was it The Simpsons where Homer kind of get angry, and whenever he gets angry, he gets a boil.
Oh,
it's like he starts getting lumps in his head. I think maybe that's what will happen eventually. They'll just start coming out of these horrific memories, and I'll have to just deal with them at some point later in life. So tonight's show, we're obviously a wee bit lower on numbers than we normally are for Heidbangers, so I thought this would be a good touch point for us. Just to, I just said fucking touch point as well. I'm sorry about that. This is when you've worked in and off. Aye.
All right. Okay.
What a dickhead. So
I'll just agree and say aye.
So we'll do some blue sky thinking, and I thought we were just going to check and see how things are with each other, and then sort of what you're doing to look after your own mental health at the moment. So Charlie, I'll come at you first, mate. How are you?
I'm doing all right, mate. I think it up and down over the past couple of weeks. I think Hibs, unlike yourself, mate, I've felt bad after the weekend, the past 2 weekends, and I'm never normally like that after a Hibs game, but I think losing two on the spin today, it's really got to me for a change. But I think in general doing all right. I definitely made the conscious decision after the game on Saturday not to tweet anything, because Twitter was a cesspit after the first derby, so I decided not to do that because it would have benefited my mental health if I never. So I'm glad I'd done that. But I doing all right other than that.
How did you find it no tweeting? Because obviously, your strong opinion Hibs will gather a lot of traffic and a lot of exposure through Twitter activity and things like that. But you mentioned before about some maybe negative tweets that come your way. Did you notice a big difference in how your night went with not tweeting?
I noticed that I felt a lot happier in myself, but Calvin got a bit of stick on Twitter, so I was certainly having to deal with that, because he was put in the group chat that, I've had this, I've had that, or so. I actually felt like I was the one tweeting it, because I was having to deal with how are you feeling and what's brought this on, but I think I'm glad I made that conscious decision. I'm going to try and my best to keep doing that after we lose a big game, just no tweet, because yourself doing a podcast, Alex, you'll know yourself being popular on Twitter. Like, people like to bite at anything that is semi-positive. So I just made that decision that we've been beat off hearts. I'll just get on with my life and not give people that opportunity to bite. And like I say, I'm glad I've done that.
Thanks, but I kind of decided to stay off. I said decided, it happened by accident because I get pints and that. But I think the only thing I tweeted after the game was just a picture of their tifo display.
Aye.
I just put Hiats, which is what it spelt like. It was spelt wrong, and I thought that's a funny tweet. And I was going to no tweet it because we got beaten. I thought you're maybe just inviting trouble there, but fuck it. So I still find it funny myself, so I don't really care. Alex, how about you? How are you doing?
Pretty similar. If you took Hibs out of the equation, I've been totally sound for the past 3 weeks or whatever it was. We've no, however long we've not done this. Aye, a bit with yourself, Charlie. Just trying not to think about it, and that's there's nothing you can do about it at all. You can talk about football all you want; it changes nothing.
Aye.
So I did delve into Twitter. I do it quite a lot, and I just take it as a laugh. So, but aye, other than Hibs ruining everything, I've been brand new. So, seen them, well, never seen them, but my mate got married on Saturday after the game to a Jambo. We were evening guests, and it was really good. It was nice to go along, and they were just completely away for the football, but everybody knew the result, so they had their mind elsewhere with the wedding and that. So turned up and seeing all the guys I go to football with happy and just no giving a shit. It was superb. So I got asked on Twitter, like, "Oh, I hope you're having a good night." I got private messages for Jambos and everything. I'm like, I didn't ken you at all. Why am I getting direct messages? And I just responded with, "Aye, I am actually. I'm having a great night." So, aye, it's been a strange time. But apart from Hibs, trying to adjust to working myself, and I'm getting there. I'm getting used to my own ways, which is good.
How are you getting on with that? Like, what are you doing to adjust?
I bought some new tools. I've been playing about with them and that. It's stuff that's going to help me. It cuts down time. Basically, it's an extra pair of hands. These tools that I've been buying, and it just speeds everything up. So that's what I'm at. I'm just the jobs I'm pricing up. I'm getting. People are happy to wait, and I'm getting good work because of it. I'm not in a rush for anybody or anything. So all quite happy.
Right, what about yourself, Charlie? What are you busying yourself with?
Work's getting busy. Being a youth worker, getting closer to the summer, you start thinking about, well, teenagers have got 6 weeks off school, so how do you fill the week? That's pretty been a big part of that, and spending a lot of time with my girlfriend, and just I'm trying to take my mind off football at the best of times, because I do a podcast on it. Like, I think about it a lot. So if I can do stuff that's not going to make me think about football constantly, that's and that's been good. Like having that time to not think about Hibs, or just to try and keep myself above water, really. Because a couple of months ago I wasn't doing okay in myself, but feeling a lot better in myself now, and still going to counselling, which has been a massive help, and getting towards the end of my counselling journey now. So can see a real progress from when I started that back in December to now. Has been massive. So those are sort of the things that have been key for me to sort of keep myself doing good.
Counselling's a really kind of useful tool for managing mental health. Was that something you organised through your work, Charlie, or were you able to kind of do that yourself?
I think it was a combination of both. So my work have funding for anyone under 25 to go through counselling. So they mentioned it back in like June last year, but I was thinking, I'm fine, like nothing really bad's happening in my life. And then around about November last year, I just took a nosedive mentally, and I was like, actually, that's probably going to be a massive help for me if I get someone who knows nothing about the situation to talk to. And that's been great, because they've been able to ask leading questions that I would never think about, why I feel this way, or how it affects other things like my sleep, or, you didn't, when you're feeling down, you didn't correlate the two together. So it's been great to have that. But it was really my work. Mark were like, we've got the funding, go and do it. And it took a lot for me to admit defeat and be like, I actually need that, because typical man, I was like, nah, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. I'll let this bubble on. And then it just came to that one day where I was like, actually, I need it. and it took a lot to go to that first session, because I was like, nah, I'm not going to this, because it's going to bring out some stuff I don't want to talk about. But no, it's been really helpful,
Good on
and
you.
I can see a lot of progress as a result.
It's one of these things, actually, that point you make there about men kind of thinking, oh, I'll just deal with it myself and I didn't want somebody else involved. And you have those sort of, like almost, I suppose, an anxiety going into it. Was your, I mean, obviously, I'm not asking you to share what you talk about or anything like that, but when you go for your first session, was it as bad as you thought it was going to be? Like, do you know, when you kind of you got in there, how were you feeling kind of going into it compared to how you came out?
I think I definitely came out a lot worse than I went in. I think it's because you have to share what's going on, and I think there's a lot. Well, at the time there was a lot going on that I'd sort of masked for a couple of years. Like nearly 4 years ago, my best mate died, and I'd never processed that. Like, I'd sort of shot it to the back of my mind, and then a couple of years ago, my parents separated, and I sort of masked that, and then having to share the two things that I'd hadn't spoken about in ages. Like, it brought out a lot of emotion in me, and I broke down for about an hour afterwards, just thinking like, oh, why have I shared that? And it's not going to be a good thing to share that. But I think I came out a lot worse. But it's been funny as I've been going over the past 2 or 3 months, like just having that that feeling's getting easier each time I leave, because I feel like I'm getting further down that process of back healing and just starting to feel like myself again, which that's ultimately what counseling's for. It's not a thing to make you feel bad about yourself, but it's a thing to help you go on that journey of going back to 100%.
It's good that you've noticed that it's taken you to go back,
yeah,
to then go forward. It's good that you've actually spotted that, because you could have felt shit and never went back at all.
Oh, I believe me, there's been a few of them where I'd be like, I'm not going back there, but it's been the best thing I've done for ages. Just getting that weekly, and it's now actually we're down to one session a month, because my counsellor's like, you're almost there. Like, I think we just need three or four more. So I've got one tomorrow, and then my next one's not till mid-May. So like, it is getting to that stage where it's like, we'll just check in and we'll see how you're doing. But it's been great, and like you say, mate, it's been good to go back, to go forward. Definitely resonate with that.
Is it somebody that you know, like through your work, or is it a complete stranger? Because that would be, what if you didn't like them or something? I've no idea how it works.
Hi, it's a good point. It's a complete stranger. I'd never met him before.
Right.
And it was a strange one going in and be like, you know nothing about me.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you a complete load of shite, and you wouldn't know any better. But I think that was the one thing I was like, oh, what happens if I say the wrong thing? Because that's all he knows. But
nah.
I never knew him, but would consider him a friend now as well, which is a
Good.
nice thing.
That's spot on, because if you walking in there thinking you're about to say something, and like, you'll definitely have heard something else that's what you would consider worse, or seen somebody in a far worse situation, or that just sounds, this is going to sound weird, but every time I walk into somebody's house, they say, I'm sorry about the mess, but they've cleaned up.
I definitely said that.
But I just say, I assure you, I've seen worse. I work on building sites, and kind of puts their mind at ease, and that's absolutely nothing to do with mental health, but it's it just came to mind when you said that. So.
No, it is true though. I think when I went in for the first time, he's like, there's no stupid answer. Like, I've heard pretty much everything when it comes to counselling, so nothing's going to surprise me, which put me at ease really quickly, because it was like, oh, I can actually share like how I'm feeling. Like, and it was like January I was able to share, like, this time last year I was ready to end my life, and he's like, don't worry, you're the third person I've heard say that this week. I'm like, oh, great. So like, sometimes you feel like it's just you that's going through that, and it really put me at ease really quickly.
Good man.
It's good that it's available through your work. And obviously, Alex, you're self-employed, so this probably doesn't apply to you quite so much. But
I'll just talk to myself.
A lot of employers offer things like employee support programs and things like that now, for folk who are struggling. And it's a funny thing is, so I have like a fairly senior position in the company that I work for now, and it's advice that I give people. So you'll see people who are maybe struggling, and you can point them in that direction and say, the beauty of it is it's totally confidential. So as a manager in the business, I would never ever hear what their issues are if they use that service. It's totally confidential. So what they talk to the counsellor about stays there. The counsellor will never ever come back to the employer and say, "Oh, by the way, we joining your teams, he's on a bit of a fucking mad one," or it never ever happens. I think they maybe report the number of people that use it or that kind of thing. But that's it. And I know a few people who have taken advantage of that service, and like you, Charlie, their experience has been really, really good.
Yeah,
and it's helped them turn a bit of a corner on it. So I would always say to anybody who's struggling to go in, if you've got an employer, speak to them and see what's on offer, and get help if it's there. So it's good that it's turning out. And Alex, what else have you been up to?
To be honest, nothing.
Brilliant.
I'm finding a routine during the week, which is good. Monday nights are paperwork night. Tuesday I get to play football. Wednesdays more paperwork, and I can put time towards it at night. And then I'm seeing more of the kids as well, which is good. They live with me, but I feel like I don't know. Well, they live with me. We're all together, but I feel like at times like I barely ever see them. So it's good. Can come in at night, put them in bed. They go down quite well now. It's good. Come down, do my stuff, and then it's fairly routine, which I like. It's good.
Has that changed since your dad retired, mate, or has that always been the case?
Kinda, but it's more routine now because I know what's coming during the day, work-wise, and I'll be able to just stop. Whereas if it was me and him working together, it was a joint decision. Now we'll work a bit longer. We'll do this. We'll do that. So it's just me now, and so far so good. So if it ever goes tits up, I'll just try and get a job somewhere else.
And how's the football going? Because you mentioned before like that. Having that activity has been really good for you.
It really is something to look forward to on a Tuesday night. It's no competitive or anything like that. It's a good laugh. So you get an hour, and the hour just tends to fly by, and they're all good guys as well. So and a big mix of supporters as well. So the derby last weekend, the first guy I spoke to was a Jambo. And I steered the conversation with anything but football, so it was good. And it's been the games have been good recently, and I'm glad I've got that sort of activity to look forward to. So that's tomorrow.
A lot to be said for having a bit of exercise. I mean, I'm no a huge one for exercising, but since we got the dog, like I walk a lot more than I used to. I find it's like even if it's only a 15-minute walk, sometimes I take him on a big walk. Sometimes it depends how he's doing, but putting the headphones in and either sticking a podcast on or just a playlist and getting some tunes on, and just that's it. You could just switch off, like leave work behind for an hour, half an hour, whatever it is, get some fresh air, stretch your legs a wee bit, have some time with the dog. Does wonders for you. You come in and you're like, that was good. That
fresh air. That's it.
I look to say the better weather's coming now as well, so sunshine's meant to be really good for your mental health, and you get your vitamin D and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that in lockdown, the first lockdown, I never went to walk anywhere at all, but there was nothing to do. So started walking about and ended up taking in sunsets, and it was just amazing. You way up Arthur Seat, watch the sun go down, and it just literally watch it. That's it. Nothing else. And it's a bit of an escape. Michelle pointed out that you'll be able to go and watch some more sunsets soon because the better weather. And I was like, right enough. She just said that about half an hour ago. So that'll be happening soon as well.
It's not far for you to walk to get up Arthur Seat. Just go up the
a
park, isn't it?
Oh, true,
Back in the garage and that. We sometimes go up there with Jane's sister and the dogs. It's brilliant up there, like the views are
good.
great and everything. Nice going up Arthur Seat and looking across the city. There's points near my house where you can see across to Arthur Seat. So I'm in Dunfermline. So you can kind of see across the Forth to Arthur Seat, catch just the very, very top piece of the road, which is always like a special thing. But I like that view. Kind of reminds me.
I'll wave to you.
Aye. Get the walkie-talkies. Or mobile phones. Do folks still have walkie-talkies now that you have mobile phones?
I cleared out my shed today and I found a set of walkie-talkies. Weird that you mentioned that. I'll try them. I'll fling one over to you and see if...
Aye.
Did it still work?
Aye, they're fine.
Always loved the idea of having walkie-talkies when I was wee, and I mind that's a shite story. I stayed on a street called Hose the Rig, and there's a wee laddie. We were up like all wee laddies at this stage. A wee laddie called Gary, who got them. It was wee Transformers ones, and we'd sort of arranged like a time where I would take one down to my house and he'd have his one, and given it was bedtime, we'd go and have a. The range wasn't. It was too far. There was shit walkie-talkies. It's one of the most frustrating evenings I ever had as a bear, trying to get it to work, because you're not sure if it's not working or if the other person's forgot. Because it's not like you can just ask them.
Right.
Do you know? So you're in
should
that
have just
situation.
Anyway.
Aye, we ended up just lighting fires and doing smoke signals, so
Aye.
that was all right. Aye, get better fun with a bit of arson. Anyway,
Medical friendly as well.
aye,
True.
I think we've got the walkie-talkies there.
God knows.
And Charlie, what else have you been up to keep your mind off the football? And you said that you were trying to kind of keep your mind off Hibs. So how are you managing that?
That's a good question, mate. I think I've been getting back into my Xbox a wee bit more, which I sort of fell out of love with it a wee. When the new FIFA comes out, I'm addicted to it for about a month, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm not playing my Xbox for months. But I've been back playing it, and I'm a big wrestling fan, so the new wrestling game came out, and I've been playing that for about 2 hours a day, and it's just been class to just keep my mind off stuff. And music's been a big help. I've been listening to Gordon's podcast, and that's been great to see how people have related to mental health through music. And you know, I was on it last week or the week before just to share my experience, and just that's been a big thing, is like Xbox and music. And like you were saying, getting out to walk more because the weather's nicer, and I'm only a 15-minute walk into town from where I am in Stirling, so it's nice just to, I say town, it's one street, but it's good to just go and, you know, even go around the charity shops or go for a coffee or, you know, stuff like that just you didn't really think too much about it. You just go and enjoy yourself. So that's really been it the past. I'd even say it stretched back to maybe mid-March was when I sort of took a real love for everything again, which is when I started to feel a wee bit more like myself.
Good man. So you're saying about podcasts, in particular Gordon's one. I went in my tools actually. I bought a new radio, which for me was really advanced. It's got Bluetooth on it. It's really cool. So didn't have to wind it up or anything. And I listened to the podcast that you were on, or you were on, Charlie, and the job I was on, your voice was booming through the place. So nice to. It's a really good podcast to listen to.
Well, twisting your melon.
Aye.
Quality.
Aye, really good. Would thoroughly recommend it. So Charlie, your episode was really good. Neil Renton.
Neil's was quality.
Heidbangers before. It's really good. So I recorded one with Gordon last week. Whether it ever sees the light of day, we don't know. But I think he was planning on putting it out next weekend. But it's a fantastic topic. So that combination of music and mental health, I was dead jealous. A great title for a podcast. And then a fantastic subject. I said that to him at the time. I was like, wish I'd thought of that. Really good. And he's a very good host on it as well. And
is it 20 quid a head that he was giving us each to mention that tonight?
I hope so.
20, 25, something like that. I think I took less because he's been on and he's helped me on here. So
right.
Aye. Well, everything's went up in price, so I could do with a bit extra money in the bank.
But aye, well worth tuning in. It's funny you mentioned the Xbox, Charlie. That's one of my great escapes as well. I'm a bit of like an Xbox geek. I like to get the kind of the new ones come out. I'm like first in to kind of get one. So that and Game Pass, the Series X, and when I kind of upgraded the TV in the bedroom and everything, and just splendid. It's the dog barking. Somebody's just opened the room door in. If you hear the dog barking, apologies about that. But I find it a great way to shut off. Again, it's like, so I'll normally play it at night. Like if Jane falls asleep, I'll just chuck a game on for, even if it's like half an hour. It's just like a wee. You don't think about anything else, and that time flies by when you play.
Oh, aye.
Video games.
Really
I don't know how that happens. I should maybe take You should maybe take an Xbox and that. Come in, you're hanging on the last 10 minutes of a game. You maybe can one that up. Just quick, get an Xbox on this 10 minutes will fly by.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I think that would be theirs for the night. That's been a nice wee chat. I think it's good to have just a wee check-in episode every now and again, just to you know, it doesn't always have to be like a big heavy topic that we're covering. I think the important thing of talking about having conversations about mental health is that they didn't have to be, oh, by the way, this is like the most sinister thing in the world that's happened. Actually, it's all right to kind of talk, and when you're in quite a good place, and I just have that wee check in to say, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm keeping myself in a good place. So
I've had a few folk coming up to me saying that they really enjoy the podcast. I'm like, it's no my thing. It's no me that does it. It's Matty. It's the Longbangers, and they love it. They actually pulled me aside and they're saying, like, everything you talk about is amazing. It's, even if it is all we've done tonight is just talk. I felt like I was just talking in the pub, but like the impact it's having is it's really good. Even if you didn't get the feedback, like, people are telling me. So there's some feedback for you.
Nice one. And I would say it's all of ours. I always say that with the podcast. I sort of host it, but I'll always try and get as many folk involved. And then it's like it's everybody's. It's no mine. I'm just one of many people that put it out, and I press the wee buttons on the computer and tell a shite joke every now and again. But it's everybody's. So you're very much part of that, Alex. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. We'll wrap up tonight. We will be back on Thursday with Short Bangers, where we will be joined by Sam Delaney from off actually previous Heidbangers, but the Reset podcast and Top Flight Time Machine. He's coming for a wee special episode with us. So get your questions in for that.
Has he heard Short Bangers before?
Well, I think so. He said that he told us, so when we had started looking at the subscription, it was Sam's company that kind of come forward and said, do you want to work with us? And we said, that's fine. And we had a chat with Sam about it, and he's like, listen, I like what you're doing. Whether that was him saying, listen, because I want you to come on board, or whether he'd actually tuned in, I don't know. But I presume it was the same with Gordon Smart came on. I presumed he knew what he was letting himself on for, and he came on. And Liam off Retro Video Club last week, who was a brilliant guest, he's come on twice, so there's no excuse. If you've been on twice, you definitely what you're getting in for it. So I get your questions in for Sam. It should be a good episode. Looking forward to recording it. Until then, Charlie, Alex, thanks very much for your time tonight. We'll catch you all later.
Cheers, mate.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water